Hello, everybody. We're here with Sean and Luna. Luna's down there if you hear her breathing heavily. But we just figured we'd do a fun little sprint for our first video on World Hoppers of the year. So we're probably going to keep it pretty short because Sean and I are going to run to the library today before it closes. So
Closes.
That's what it does when it closes. But anyway, for anybody that ends up joining later, feel free to let us know in the comments what you're going to be reading this year. Do you have any reading goals for this year? Anyway, Sean, what are you reading?
I'm reading Libra by Don DeLillo. Libra, Don DeLillo.
Make sure you say it enough times so everybody catches that.
Libra, Don DeLillo.
Yeah, we're probably just going to do one quick sprint. But I just finished Rise of the Ranger today. I don't know if anybody has read this before. But since I finished that, I figured I'll go ahead and pick up a manga for our sprint. So I have Yona of the Dawn volume 40 because there's a lot of volumes of this.
I thought for some reason you were going to say, so since I finished, I'm going to pick up the sequel. And then you held up Yona. I was like, that's not it.
No.
That's Yona of the Dawn.
That's what we're going to the library for. So I can try to find sequels. I think this series, I think there's 9 books in the series. But Happy New Year to you. Hello, hello. Happy New Year. Lots of Happy New Years. Happy New Year all around to everybody. Kushiel Start. I want to read that. I have a really beat up old copy of that from our used bookstore. I don't hear too many people talk about it though. So hopefully you like it. The House Switch 2. I don't think I knew there was even more than one. Age of Myth with chores. So it's interesting that you say Age of Myth because I was telling Sean that this read kind of like that series. I've only read the first one of that series, but it read kind of like that, but serious, where I feel like Sullivan's tone is a little bit more upbeat. Let's see. The Bear and the Nightingale. Have you seen that she has a book coming out next month? It's historical fiction, but I feel like there's sprinkles of fantasy.
Looks a sprinkle.
Just a sprinkle. Like I don't know if it's considered fantasy because it is such a small amount. Yeah, the cover looks pretty cool, I think. Also, there's the cover again for anybody that there's a dragon in the background. I'm trying to hold it so that you can I didn't know which direction my finger was supposed to go. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It kind of has a lot of your kind of standard fantasy things. So there's dragons and elves and things like that. But I think that the story itself, there's a lot of different perspectives. But I liked this first book. I do feel like it was pretty introductory because there's so many perspectives and there's so many different things to get through. So I'm curious to see where we go from there. That's what I've heard. I will keep that in mind when I do eventually get around to it. Hello. Sean, do you want to talk more about Don DeLillo?
Well, I haven't read a Don DeLillo book I haven't liked. Well, this one is about it's fiction, but that's Lee Harvey Oswald. So this is about Lee Harvey Oswald and the CIA. And it's already got, I'm not even far into it, we've already got paranoia about technology, paranoia about the atom bomb. What are good Don DeLillo things? TV. He loves TV.
No baseball, though.
No baseball in this one so far.
These are like Don DeLillo. Sean
Staples.
calls it the bingo, right? The bingo board.
Bingo square Don DeLillo.
Yeah. But if you don't know, I'm trying to think, most people, if they've heard of it, probably have heard of White Noise because they made a movie.
White Noise is excellent.
It's Noah Baumbach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who is with the director of Barbie.
Greta Gerwig,
who I think he worked on Barbie too.
They co-wrote it.
Yeah, but I don't think White Noise was as well received or nearly as I know it wasn't nearly popular as
it was
Barbie.
Not a very good adaptation.
But I read the book last year.
You did.
I liked it.
You read this one next.
I think I'm gonna do that.
Oh.
Anyway, so a lot of you have mentioned what you're gonna be reading for your events. Does anybody have any goals this year or any anticipated releases that they're excited about? I mean, aside from Stormlight 5, I feel like that's a big one for a lot of us. What about video games? You know, whatever. It could be whatever thing you're excited about. Happy New Year. Sean, I'm gonna pull up a timer. So
very good.
Feel free to chat as I do that.
I'm not even sure if I can answer your question. I don't know of any upcoming anything. So
there's the Shadow of the Erd Tree is supposedly going to come out this year.
Oh, is that a expansion?
For Elden Ring.
I didn't even get
That's right.
Normal Elden Ring. So
and you only got as far as you did because we
assisted you. Assistance.
Yeah, most bosses. So for those that are not into video games, if you don't know at all, Elden Ring is known, as are pretty much all the games made by that company, for being really, really difficult. But Elden Ring has an online mode where you can play together, and I'd already beaten the game. My character is so beefed up. So when Sean would have to do anything in that game, I would just come on in and pretty much kill everything for him.
Mm-hmm.
So then he got through the game. He was getting through it very quickly. But the second there was something that he had to do alone, he could not do it at all. And then he got really mad at the game. And I'm like, well, now you know what it's like for the rest of us, because he kept saying, like, oh, this game's fun. Like, well,
it was a fun experience for me.
Let's see. Some readathons. That's nice. Not super competitive ones. I don't know if I've done any competitive readathons.
I'm only an amateur.
I think I would take it too seriously. I think that would be a big problem for me. Is that I would probably be like, I have to read more, I have to win. And I don't think that would be fun. And then it would probably make the reading experience not very good. Crescent City 3. I think that seems to be pretty common. A lot of people seem to have really disliked the second one from what I've seen. Let's see. I read it and it was kind of middle of the road for me. I don't know if it was that so many people loved it that it was just overly. I mean, I don't think that's what it was for me. I think I just genuinely thought maybe it could have been more to my liking, will be how I'll say it. But a lot of people have described it as being like Red Rising, which is how I described. I sent Sean a text that said it'd be like, basically it'd be like Red Rising if not as much moved as quickly. That's my nice way of putting it. It's like a slower Red Rising, I think. And then after I read it, I've actually already done a review. I just haven't posted it yet. But after having done that review, I looked at other people's reviews and I saw a lot of people compared it to Red Rising. But most people really love it. So hopefully you will as well. Oh, yay. Finally. I feel like has it gotten pushed back, or is it just genuinely taken? Well, it's totally fine if it's taken that amount of time. But I feel like the first two came out pretty quick. Maybe not. Maybe I just read them quick back to back. And then in my head, they came out closer. Oh, wow. That's all right. I think that's a lot of us. I mean, that's a lot of books. You have a lot of books, but I don't think I'm one to talk. I also blame him partially because since we're both readers, we collectively have a lot of books. I have more though.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Can't wait for the next one. And yeah.
I read that as I have Game of Thrones to read my I was like, what?
Just that series I have to get through. Yeah, I feel like that's a good goal. It seems to be a universal book. Okay, let's see. Let me get I started to get the timer. Let me get it officially ready to go. Let's see. I always like this one. I have to make sure it doesn't make any noise. Oh, it even was left off after 45 minutes had passed.
Oh.
That's kind of fun. Oh, that's right. We do need to read that.
Did not.
That is a reference from a previous sprint, I think, where Sean and I were saying that's one of those books we both read as kids. I would be very curious to reread as adults. But then on top of that, we just don't remember it that well.
I remember demons.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever little
it was spelled
animal,
with the interesting AE
companions
thing.
are.
Yeah. But I think I told the story when talking about it, that I definitely think I picked that up when it was above my reading level. So this kind of ties back to the competitive thing. We had AR at my elementary school. I know that is a thing a lot of people had. And I think the color was, I'm sure they've redone them since I was a kid, but I think the color was purple. And oh, this is really challenging. And I was like, I can read it. And I think I was pretty confused because I am rather certain I was quite little.
Giant polar bears.
So I don't know if I knew what was going on. Didn't read it as a kid. Reading an arc of the Tainted Cup. I have seen a lot about that one. It sounds interesting. It sounds really quite odd, but I'm glad you're liking it. Is it as odd as the synopsis makes it sound, or is it a little bit more grounded? Because the way it's described, it seems like it's going to be a little abstract. Read them right after. That's the way to do it.
Yeah. Was that the first time you had read
both?
Either of them, or okay? I'm gonna guess by that you read them before. But had you read Narnia as a kid?
Better to read them as an adult. It is an interesting reading experience and experiment, because didn't the author of his Dark Materials state at one point that he kind of wrote that in response to Narnia? There's sort of the one that has a lot of obvious religious,
anti-Narnia.
It's one of them is so that is kind of interesting to go between the two. Both. Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't they remake they had an adaptation when we were young that Nicole Kidman I think was in, right?
Yeah, and there's that HBO series.
And it has the little girl from Logan, the movie Logan, I think, who was very good in the movie. I'm curious if any of you feel this way. Are any of you kind of tired of the adaptations that are remakes of things we've already gotten adaptations for? Does that make sense? So I feel like that's a good example. His Dark Materials got an adaptation, and then it got another adaptation. And no shade to, One Piece, but you're seeing now there's going to be another animated, which it's a good team of people that are doing it. But there's already an anime that's not done. It's a live action. Now we're getting another animated thing. Lord of the Rings has had multiple. So I'm kind of like, hey, what about all the stuff that doesn't have any adaptations? Can we get those, please? I know it's fun for people that are
make money.
Yeah, and Avatar is another one that they're redoing, which that's not an adaptation necessarily the first time, but anyway, there's just a lot of things that are already popular that are getting new adaptations, and I guess they're getting like Superman treatment. Is this going to be every 8 years or so we get another version of these? Let's see, to balance the reading experience. Yeah, watching the show with my 12-year-old sister. She has an extensive. Well, that's nice that she has a lot of books to get around to. Magic system in Tainted Cup is interesting, like how it's told by an apprentice, almost Justice of King's vibes, but exactly. Oh, cool. I am planning to read the second one of that, hopefully next month, Tyranny of Fate, so I can just go right into the third when it comes out. I'm really excited. Tori from the channel Tori Morrow whoops, sorry, Sean, I just kicked him, has really enjoyed that series, and it's made me kind of really pumped about the second and third one. There are so many interesting stories out there to adapt. It just feels like everything is getting another adaptation before a lot of stuff, because they canceled the Jade City one, and
they haven't adapted Libra yet.
I really feel like that would have made for a great adaptation, especially as far as live action goes. That would have been a really, I don't want to say easy, like there's not a lot of effort put in, but I feel like as far as adaptations go, that would have been a good one, because there's not as much to do with the magic, or there is, but it's not as magical looking. The special effects wouldn't have had to be as out there. Even better than the first. Yay! That makes me excited. I am, like I said, that it's on my TBR for next month. Even though I said I was going to probably potentially not do TBRs, I pretty much have like the first half of the year's reading potentially mapped out.
That sounds a lot like a TBR.
I know. Okay, let me get the timer ready to go. I mean, I already got it. I just have to share it on the screen. Yay. Okay. So we'll go ahead and read for 45 minutes, and then when we're done, Sean and I will be hopping off pretty much immediately. So it'll kind of be abrupt when we're done. I might even cut it off around 40 minutes, just because we have to run to the library before they close today. So we're just going to go ahead and jump into our sprinting, and then we'll say a quick goodbye before we're all done. So let me go ahead and get that started. Full screen. Okay. We'll see you in roughly 40 to 45 minutes. Hello, everybody. So I did stop it at 40 minutes for anybody that joined later. Sean and I are going to the library, so I could only do 40 minutes, not the full 45. So we're just hopping back on to say hi and bye really quick. So I'll try to get around to, for those that join later. Yona is a lot of fun. It's really campy and it's filled with a lot of ridiculous angst for a really long time. So I do feel like you have to give it some time, but it's fun. I think that's the best. It's just always a good time. It's always fun. I think the characters get around to being likable. So, like they're almost too flirty and kind of gross initially. Sean actually read the very beginning, so he can add to that. Happy New Year. Oh, that is tonal whiplash. Sometimes that's nice, though, when you need a break from one and then going into the next one. Let's see. Spy Family is great. I don't know what Apothecary Diaries is.
I've never heard of it.
I haven't heard of it either. I like the name. So I'll have to see if I can look into that one. Enjoy your time with the library. Thanks. That's nice. I think it'll probably take longer to get there than it will for us to actually be there, because it's the one we're going to that stays open a little later is kind of far. But you're very welcome. Just came from the library. Yay. Vengeful by V. Schwab. I hope you like it. I know a lot of people like Vicious more and they don't like the sequel as much, but I think Sean and I are in the unpopular camp of liking Vengeful a lot. We both liked it.
I liked it.
That's a couple of things that you've read. Usually you haven't read the stuff we're talking about.
Wow. Look at me. Look at me go.
Yeah. This was fun, though. It's nice to just jump back in. Next week, we'll have a regular video. I think Roger from Rogers Reads is hosting a best of the year fantasy edition with some other people. So that should go up next week. And then we'll probably have another sprint after that. And we've got quite a few videos in mind, just kind of figuring out what's going to go where and when. So where is here. It'll go up here, but it's more of the when, trying to piece together everybody's schedules. So, but this is fun. Probably chances are when we do future sprints, they'll be at this same time. So if any of you are interested in doing sprints, they'll probably be roughly every other week and probably around this time. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. Thanks for those of you that joined. It was a good time. As always, don't forget to check out World Hoppers merch. Sean forgot to he didn't turn it inside out on a number of washes. Normally they're not this faded. But anyway, all of the AdSense revenue and merch sales goes to charity. So don't forget to check all that out. It was nice seeing, well, I didn't really see you, but saw your comments and your usernames. But thanks for joining. We'll see you guys later. Bye.